All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day number 35 of 4040. If I'm not correct, y'all let me know. But day number 35 of 4040, we're still in our profit phase. And today we're going to talk about profits. I want to do some reframing for you. Oftentimes, when we think about profits and we hear profits, especially in business, we think about money, bank account, what that looks like in a spreadsheet. But what I want you to understand is that profits has a lot of different faces, and we're going to talk about what some of those faces of profit are today. I did put a question in the chat that I want people to think about that question, and I'm going to have a couple more, but I wanted to give this one to you ahead of time. So when we get there, you've had time to kind of process your answer. And I want you to be ready to share what's one way you felt more aligned lately, even if the money hasn't caught up yet. So think about ways in your life, things you may have learned this year, accomplishments you may have achieved. Maybe there's something that kind of opened up a whole new level for you within your business, within your mindset, within your energy. That is just as good, if not better than profit. I want you to think about what that is and be willing to share that. Okay. So today we're going to talk again just about what balance looks like. I titled this the ROI of alignment. ROI, if you're not familiar, stands for return on investment. So we talk a lot about, you invest certain amount of money per month or per year to keep your business running. And in order to get profitable, you want to bring in a certain number of revenue so that the money that you bring in exceeds the expenses that it took for you to get there. Typically, that money is called profit. Okay. So above and beyond your expenses is profit. But we don't just gain money, we also gain relationships, renewed energy. Maybe there's new mindsets unlocked because we're reading certain books. There's all these other things that we would call, I would consider at least to be intangible profits, that as you're going through the experience that you're picking up and you're gaining. So I don't want you to discount those things. I really want you to think about what other things you've had that are valuable to you in that way. It could be relationships, maybe it's peace, maybe you've learned how to establish some boundaries within your life so that you can protect the workspace externally as well as internally in your mind. It's going to allow you to do the things that you want to do in life. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to just go through a couple different exercises today. My goal is by the time we leave here today, that all of you will be able to not just view what's profitable in your life financially, but you can really take a good inventory to realize what the intangible profits for your life and your family and all those who you do this for, what those things are. It's going to really help you get through the journey that you have to go through, because oftentimes we may feel that we're failing or we're not succeeding, we're not doing something right because we didn't hit the number. The profits that we're talking about today and the profits that are going to help you really sustain your journey as an entrepreneur are really going to be those things that are going to allow you to not just use the failures that you might experience as learning lessons, but then also as things that are going to help you get through tough times in the future. So you'll learn, anybody on here, regardless of what level of success they're at, the challenges don't stop. Okay. So the challenges don't stop. Once you receive the money and you hit the level, you still have work to do. You still have challenges that you're going to experience, and there's still going to be mentally things that you have to build up some strength for. So these are the things, and these are the profitable aspects of being an entrepreneur and being in business that are really going to sustain you for the long haul. These are the things that are really going to lay the foundation and create the roadmap that you need to reach the financial goals that you want. So I asked everybody in the chat just to be able to kind of share. I'm looking for some volunteers if you can get your hand ready. What's one way that you felt more aligned lately in your life this year, this quarter, this 40/40, whatever you choose, even if the money hasn't caught up yet? What are some of your intangible, profitable benefits that you've gained so far on this journey? Okay. So let's go ahead and hear from Valerie first.
It's kind of funny that you said intangible profits because in my humble opinion, one of them is re-signing someone that had gone out of the business. You've already reaped the $50 bonus, and I think it's my understanding you don't get that a second time when they re-sign. But more significantly, when you do, and I've learned through here, especially with Carmen's referral to It's in Your Back Office and Betty Brown's, that there truly is a gold mine in your back office. And learning how to tap into that gold mine while building a brand is just as important as building a team, because your brand is your team. You are going to attract who and what you are. And I've been getting a lot more engagement. So I'm totally in alignment with my personal goals of just getting more engagements on my social media, and appointments are starting to increase. So again, the harvest doesn't come until you've sowed and it's ready to reap. So you better nurture. And when someone resigns, I think that's a huge commitment in the alignment they now have. I learned better to figure out what it was they wanted through our probing questions. And that's what facilitated a resign.
Thank you, Valerie. I love when all of us become teachers and we are able to share. So, Valerie, you touched on quite a few things that I know people were resonating with, and I love that you were able to highlight those things. We also had in the chat, I'll just kind of read some of those. Dr. Gianna Young said dials, building rapport, and permission to stay in touch about business were some of her intangible, profitable benefits so far. Carmen said, I felt more aligned lately by creating space for peace and clarity, even when things don't move as fast financially, attracting more than chasing. That's my vibe. Attracting more than chasing, because I really like doing that work. And we always say, don't put pressure on the people. And oftentimes it's really easy for us to get caught up in that. We're putting the pressure in the wrong place. So it's important when you are feeling yourself, feeling scurried, scattered, feeling like, you got to do this, you got to do this. Like there's some of that energy that helps you, but some of that energy also translate into cloudiness. It'll have you just acting and doing without taking the right actions because you're physically responding, but you're not mentally thinking about what it is that you're doing. So, what I want to do is just kind of share with you, for some of you who may not have thought about what some of those intangibles are for you yet. I created something in collaboration with our friend ChatGPT that I think is going to be really helpful for you. These are going to be 5 intangible profits. So if you don't have any of your own, I want you to kind of take a listen to these and think about your personal experience and think how these things may relate to you. So 5 intangible profits that I want to share with you. The first one is a clarity profit. So when confusion turns into direction, oftentimes when we're under pressure, our backs against the wall, you either respond in a way that later on you'd be like, I wish I would have handled that differently, or sometimes people just get stuck. So I think it's important when you find yourself in those scenarios that you take a moment to just kind of slow things down a bit and figure out, how do I get clear about this? Let me get an understanding about what I'm going through right now. Let me assess the situation. Let me take some time to either pray, speak to yourself, be around the right people that are going to help you get into a space where you can find some clarity so that you can move forward. So one of the intangible, profitable things that you can gain from this experience as an entrepreneur is clarity. Another I want to touch on is confidence profit. When you realize you're built for this journey and this experience, oftentimes when you're new, and I was speaking this morning, is like even when you're not new, even though I have been doing what I've been doing for so long, I still have times when I'm writing a big proposal to a client in my marketing business that I start questioning things. And I'm just like, is this going to be too much? Like, am I going to be able to deliver upon this? All these things, all these doubts and fears that I've carried over the years and have not fully eliminated still will resurface sometimes. So it's important to know that I've done it. I've done the work. I've done the best that I can do up until this moment. Now it's time for me to experience what I have to experience to get where I need to get. Failures might come through that process, but those failures can also be teachable moments that are going to help you build up the confidence later. So when I think about like the journey that I've been on personally, oftentimes, I've had to battle fears internally, not because people externally said them to me or believed them, but they were just internal challenges that I had, and I had to work through those. People often tell me, they was like, I don't understand, like when you do videos all the time, you sound so natural. But even before that red light comes on to say you're live, I still get butterflies and I still feel nervous. But as soon as it comes on and I remember, like I've done this before, I'm in my routine, everything just flows naturally. So there's a confidence that you'll build, as reps, no different than working out physically. As a business owner and as an entrepreneur, you're going to go through reps mentally and you're going to go through reps physically. So that's why it's very important to make sure that you're clear on these five different intangible benefits that you can gain from this journey. So the next one, and a lot of this is what keeps 4040 going while we're on version 7.0, is a connection. The relationships that we build, the people who are going to help you really fulfill the purpose that you want to fulfill. So this one is going to be called the connection profit. I want you to think about partnerships, friendships, the opportunities. Many of you talked about there's people who you're connected to now who have become lifelong friends that you never would have met if it was not for being part of the same business that we're all in, or if it was not for seeing a certain post on social media. All of that builds connection. And it's the reason why Carmen and I can still be here today to coach and to share and to have you all share from your personal experiences to help everybody that's here in the room with us. So we got two more. I want to talk about the creative profit. This is inspiration and ideas. How many times have you come on 4040 or you've heard something that someone shared and you left with a little nugget? If you're on IMV in the morning and you hear something that really becomes like the seed that you needed to get through the rest of the day, that's a profit. That's a profitable benefit from this experience. So I want you to kind of take consideration as just like I am doing well, even though the numbers may not be where I want them to be. I may not have the number of partners that I have or that I want to have in this moment, but like where else am I succeeding and am I doing well? Because these things are going to really help you do that next thing. The last one that I have for you is the character profit. Where are you growing stronger inside? I talked a lot about my ability to feel confident in what I do and my ability to show up on camera being something that was developed over time. And it really came from going through the tough times, remembering the things that I've learned, the things that I've read, the things that I've picked up from all of you here on 4040 to remind me that I'm headed in the right direction. These things build character. These are the things that are going to build resilience, practicing patience, discipline. All these things are going to play a part in the long-term investment on what you get in this entrepreneurial journey. So I want you to kind of reflect back for a minute on the things that I shared, and I would just love to kind of hear from some people of those. Which ones have you maybe like, oh yeah, I am feeling that. I do have that. Or anything that may have sparked if you weren't speaking before. I'll kind of recap them for you. The clarity profit, which is when confusion turns into direction. We have the confidence profit, which is when you realize that you're built for this and that you can do this. The connection profit, when you're building those genuine relationships, the creative profit, when you're getting inspiration and ideas that allow you to be able to flow and get back into your groove, and the character profit, when you grow stronger inside that personal development that we all speak about. Let's go to Georgette, and then we'll go to Levon, and then Dr. Young.
Everything you just said, that's what I profit. When I first got into this business, I didn't know what I was doing. I was overwhelmed. I didn't have clarity. I didn't have confidence. I didn't have nothing. I just had a basket with great information, but didn't know how to use it. But since I've been on this Zoom, this 4040 plus 6, everything you just said, I've gained.
Love that. Thank you. Love to hear that. Let's go to Levon.
I think for me, it's a combination of the clarity and connection. Like the circumstances that landed me out here in Arizona, I felt down on myself and a lot of pressure. But having that right connection, being around people who think the same as me, that have that enterprise mindset, it gave me the clarity I needed to know I made the right decision. So I think those two really stick out to me.
That's good. Love that. Thank you. Dr. Young.
Good morning, everyone. So for me, it's confidence, connection too, but it stands out for me because a long time ago during 4040, Mr. Bradley joined Director Benson and I in our team. She invited him to one of our boot camps, and I told him I was struggling because I wasn't moving the way I wanted to, and he said, "Okay, everybody in the chat, put." What do you think Gianna's confidence level is 1 out of 10? And then everybody put their numbers. And then he was like, you answer. And I was like, it's a 6. And he was like, and everybody was like, oh my God, I thought it was higher. And then he was like, see, he was like, when I met you when you were 20, what was your number? And I was like, a 10. And he said, you need to figure out what has happened in life to make your confidence level drop like that, because people can smell it. And during 4040, what I love right now is because we're celebrating 10 years. I see the evidence, I know the evidence, and I'm like, yeah, my confidence is high. I love it.
Oh, love that. And how many years had it been that you've been in the business?
I've been in business 9.5 years.
9.5 years. Okay. Oh, I know you got some stuff to share with us. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, let's go to Denise Hutton, then we'll go to Director D.F. Russell.
So I would say the confidence, when you realize that you're built for the business. When I first got in, of course, I felt like a lot of people overwhelmed and not knowing which direction to go in. And then my husband mentioned to me just probably about 2 weeks ago, he said, um, you're different, He said, you move differently. He said, you seem to have a lot more confidence and everything. And for my husband to say that to me, is a big deal, So I would say that that also includes the character, like building character and confidence at the same time makes a huge amount of difference. And when somebody says no, I don't freak anymore, I'm like, okay, it's a numbers game, just keep moving, and just really having confidence in myself, that I'm good.
I
I
like
think that
that.
makes a huge difference.
And let me ask you a question. Like, what would you
Yeah.
attribute that to, that shift in you within yourself?
Oh, definitely going to the meetings, definitely, being around other people who have a lot of confidence. I also feel like the readings that we do, it's motivating. It makes you take action. Like, okay, you may have to inhale a few times before you do that first presentation, or you may, those are things that I never would have been comfortable. I mean, I would have done it, but would I have had the confidence that I have now? And in terms of when I first started doing presentations online, even if it's part of a presentation, that's still a lot of pressure. What are people gonna think? I don't care. I'm just gonna get out there and say what I gotta say, and I'm done.
Right.
So I just don't worry as much about, what people think. And even going online, posting online, that makes a huge amount of difference in your confidence level. I'm still not on that YouTube channel yet, but I'm working on it.
That's okay. Thank you for sharing that. We really appreciate that. And
Thanks.
Denise touched on something that, as I was listening to this morning, and told many of you before, I do a lot of brain training. And this morning, I was listening to a guy who wrote a book. I'm not gonna say it because it includes a cuss word, but it was like, "Who gives a you know what?" And in that book, the guy was saying how most of the things that usually prevent us from becoming the person that we want to be and doing those greater things is because we're concerned about the perception other people might have. And he says that when you can get over that and you can really push through that, by the time that people really do start caring, because they probably most likely aren't caring at that moment, you've grown so much where it won't even matter. And it kind of goes back to that whole being unemotional and detached from the result, because this is about your internal journey, you growing, getting to a certain point. And oftentimes we just worry about what people are going to think, what they're going to say, and those people aren't thinking about you. They got their own stuff that they need to work on. So you might as well continue on and get to where you need to get and build up that armor that you need for that. All right, Director D.F. Russell, if you're able to speak.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. I think mine would be the clarity profit, because I remember, and it's like you said, when the numbers aren't matching up and you feel like your work is giving, but it's not giving enough to get the numbers you want. I was so confused. I just kept saying, how do I have all these people on my team and numbers are not moving like in the right direction consistently or fast enough? And I remember maybe about 30 days ago, about 30, I said, I got to shift. I really got to shift and focus on the new blood. Like we say it, we repeat cliches that we hear in the business all the time. New blood is the lifeline of the business. But I'm starting to see that now, because sometimes we'll spend so much time with the same groups of people, whether it's our goal builders. And I know Carmen and I talk about this a lot. Like we gotta keep grooming our goal builders so that they can groom their teams, right? And I do agree with that. But I also said, but the people I'm bringing in, or the people I'm bringing in, and if their sponsor isn't like coaching them, we can't just leave it to chance. And so when I pulled like about 15 new people into a separate group and just focused on either getting them to a meeting, making sure they're plugged in somewhere, or getting them launched. Out of those 15, I think there are 7 that we've been able to do that for. And it's been a success every time. And that's providing clarity for me. Even if it's one, like we went to Racine last night and got one person, and Michelle went with me on this one. And that was even new, because Michelle, she usually is at home. She goes to everything at home, or if we're in Chicago, but not really another, meeting or whatever. And it was just good to see her in another element. It was good to see us get a new partner from a new partner's launch. And on the way home, I just kept saying, I'm so excited about that one person. And some people may look at that like, oh, you only got one. That's all you need sometimes. We don't know who the right one is going to be, but just for being able to clarify, no, Ahmad is still new. I got to get to Ahmad's partner and make sure he launches. He had 4 guests in the room. One of them partnered that day, and he was smiling big. I said, that's what it's got to, we just got to continue to do that and focus, instead of focusing on, I want directors, of course, but I also know that if I got 20 bronze builders, we're going to get half of them at least, sooner than later to silver, and then they go to gold. And then that's how we get those directors. So just figuring that out now as a director, it just feels good to kind of have that focus now.
Thank you. That has so many different nuggets in it. And one of the things that I heard in that was there was the one partner, but do we know how many seeds were planted yesterday because of that meeting? The happiness that the person who got the one partner felt, and what that's going to do for the next person that they encounter. So those are all the intangible things that are just as important and powerful, even if they may not necessarily move the numbers in a great way. It's seed planting, plus you have something sprouting out of the ground because you were there. Because if you were not there, none of that stuff would have taken place. People would not have walked out of that room feeling the way they felt, even if they didn't take action that day. So I just think that's just a perfect example of what I mean by the intangibles. Don't feel like the energy and the things that we're putting into the work that we're doing is not paying off. How many times have we heard and seen people come back or say, hey, yeah, I remember that this was going on in my life at the time. They didn't tell you that at the time, but they'll tell you that later on, now they're at a different place. So, the effort is going to pay off for you. And it's just a matter of all of us really sticking to the things that we've learned and continuing to trust and believe in that and practice that so we can get better at it. So we're in our last 6 minutes. We're going to go to Dr. Lynn, and then we're going to close out with Carmen, Director Carmen.
Well, good morning, everyone. I think my overall profit is my spirituality, which encompasses all 5. Because in my spiritual walk, every day that I'm above the grass, I'm given another chance to get all 5 of these right. That spirituality gives me clarity on what I'm doing for that day, making me and guiding me through the avenues of the confusion and how to minimize the confusion in my life and bring peace to my life. It also helps me build my confidence to know that if I've overcome that confusion and I got the peace, that leads way to build up the confidence. And when I say that, my husband had once told me, he was speaking to a friend who asked about my business, and his response was, "Oh, she's still doing that, her little business." Well, if that didn't kick confidence in the rear of my back, I said, "Okay, now I'm gonna have to show you what my little business is about." That led me to my spirituality led me to looking at the connections and the relationships that I want to build and who I want to build them to or build them with. Because I can look at a whole bunch of people in the store and say, okay, well, if you're in 3 inches of me and you give me a compliment, I'm going to try to build that relationship to you. If not, try to get you to go on a vacation. But then that spirituality comes because something happens in the process that tells me, okay, that's not the one, because this is all the other confusion that is going to bring. It also has allowed me to be inspirational to my team. I have been able to inspire some individuals on my team who said point blank, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not doing that. All I want to do is to travel. Now, all of a sudden, they're leading the team meetings. So I'm like, okay, something happened. I don't know what I did, but something happened, and I'm just going to be thankful and grateful for it. And then that built my character, because now I'm saying, all right, at one point in time, maybe you felt like you couldn't do it, or you wasn't that person that could lead others to believe in themselves, to become the leaders that they are. And that built my character, because now I'm seeing the results of my spiritual profit in guiding and leading others. So thank you for giving me the time.
Yes, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing that. The little business, I put in there the power of the little. You want to motivate somebody?
Ooh, baby.
Oh, okay.
That stepped on, I don't have corns, but that stepped on my pinky toe hard. And I was like, yo, what? Excuse me?
Yeah, that's one that you'll hear over the years. So y'all be prepared for that if you haven't already experienced it. All right, let's go ahead and close out with Director Carmen Ray.
All righty. This was a great session. Great session, Mike. I got a call on the other line, so I think I missed one. We had clarity, confidence, connection. He said character. And was there a fifth?
We character, creative,
Creative. Oh my goodness. I can,
inspiration, and ideas flowing. Yeah.
yes, I can really write something about all of those things over these years. I want to give a really quick testimony about the partner I got yesterday. This is about posture and confidence. I got a new partner yesterday that I literally been working on, one of the first people I talked to when I started the business. And I'm gonna post it so I don't take up too much time. I'm gonna post it in our community. But I'm telling y'all, Chat GPT, if y'all did not, thank you, Minister Asia. If y'all have not signed up for Mike's the AI class, because when I tell you I want to give you practical examples when we meet together on Saturday on how powerful ChatGPT is. This is a person that literally reached out to me and asked me to book a group trip. This is a person I've been prospecting for 8 years because I identify women over 50 that have built networks already. That's my target audience. Not people, thank you, Denise Hutton, not people who, say, I don't know anybody. I do got a lot of people like that on my team, but I'm on another level now. So my goal is to get 10 women who have built their networks. This is one of the women. And because I put all of my, not all, but a lot of, I went to my Planet app. I shared with ChatGPT some of the previous conversations. She asked me to put together a trip for her for Obama Museum in Illinois. And I said, sure, I could definitely do it, or I could give you a way to be able to do it. And because she just opened up a 501(c)(3), and this could be a fundraiser. And but the way ChatGPT laid out the proposal for me, I said, so you could pick between option one or two. I wasn't emotionally attached because she's been saying no anyway for 8 years. And the way she came back, I gave her something to go by, and she said option one, but it's her mindset. She came so ready, like, yep, I got a lot of people that just can't help. And she already gets travel because she travels internationally, and so do her kids. So I just said all of that to say, y'all, just the power of one is everything. Just don't be so quick to get people off of your list that you know that you truly, truly want to partner with. So, Mike, the return on the investment is real. Thank you so much for delivering this powerful message today. And thank you guys for continuing to show up for your own success. And we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.